Now, today's article is regarding faith and marriage of 21st August 2021. It talks about faith and marriage. Now, what is faith? Faith is total confidence in someone or something. Now, what is it that the Constitution has to do with the people's personal faith and marriage? Total confidence in something or someone. So let's go on with the article. There are a few new words like dubious, which means hesitating or doubting. Interim is the intervening time or meanwhile. Euphemism is a better and milder term for usage, like instead of using death, we use expired. Allure is to attract something, the quality of being mysteriously attractive. Rigor is the quality of being extremely thorough and careful. Coercion is the practice of persuading someone to do something by force or threat. Now, there are a lot of people who are forced into marriages. So, their marriages are coercive in nature. That means they've been forced to marry. Foment is to instigate or stir up. Like he fomented a revolution or revolt. Penal is punishable by law. Now, regrettable means unwelcome or something that demands regret. Votaries is a person such as a monk or nun who has made vows of dedication to religious service. Monk or nun, in short. Invariably is in every case, irrespective of any occasion, and that is very much present always. Stall is to stop or cause to stop. The education of the recent generation was stalled by COVID-19 pandemic. Patently is clearly without doubt. Pushback is to delay an event. Disconcerting is causing one to feel unsettled. Let's start with the article Faith in Marriage. Dubious legislation cannot be allowed to criminalize interfaith marriages. Dubious, as I told you, means not very clear, doubtful. So, a dubious legislation, that is, the laws that are coming into picture regarding marriage, cannot be allowed to criminalize interfaith marriages. Now, what are interfaith marriages? Interfaith marriages are like this is a person of one religion, suppose Hindu, and this is a person of another religion, suppose Christian. And if they agree to marry, then it's called an interfaith marriage, and there is no problem in that. It is very much allowed by our constitution. Aggressive and patently unconstitutional feature. Patently is clearly, undoubtful. Opposite of dubious, we could say. Aggressive and patently unconstitutional feature of recent anti-conversion laws. What are the anti-conversion laws that are coming very recent? They are that any person who forces a person to change his or her religion to some other religion, then that person who has mediated this is punishable by law. This is what the anti conversion law is. People are very much allowed to change their religion from one to another, but this does not mean that but this also poses a problem which says that there are people who might instigate other people to change to some other religion. So, something that is very much not allowed and punishable by law. Aggressive and patently unconstitutional feature of recent anti-conversion laws enacted by different states is the criminalization of interfaith marriages by treating them as a means to convert one of the parties from one religion to another. Suppose two people marry, and this Christian forces this Hindu to change its religion to Hindu. Forces. It's a coercive act. This is punishable. This is not allowed by our constitution. This is very much punishable. So, this is what the anti conversion law says. While anti conversion laws, euphemistically called in some states as laws on freedom of religion, euphemism. What is euphemism? Euphemism is euphemism is a better word for a derogatory word, like we use expired instead of death, as on freedom of religion, have always sought to criminalize conversions obtained through fraud, force, or allurement. What is allurement is mysteriously attractive. The recent enactments or amendments have created conversion by marriage as one of the illegal forms of conversion. In its interim order, now what has happened? There, suppose two people marry. These two people have married. Now, what has happened is that this remains a Christian person and this remains a Hindu person even after marriage. There's no fuss between them, and this is very much allowed. But when one forces the other to change their religion, then it becomes a matter of the states and the government. So now it has become punishable by law to change religion when marrying, because there are people who change their religion when they marry by will. There is no one forcing them. In its interim order of order protecting parties to interreligious marriage from needless harassment, the Gujarat High Court has made it clear that the rigors of states amendments introduced earlier this year will not apply to marriages that do not involve any fraud, force, or allurement. Now, Gujarat High Court has done a very nice thing. Rigor, as I told you, is to be very clear and thorough. Gujarat High Court has said that the people who have been already married and are in an interfaith marriage, they need not to be worried. Their life can be protected by if by fraud allegations on them. So people who have already been married need not be worried. Now, so it has stopped the initiation of criminal proceedings against those who have married across religion faith unless there were any of these illegal elements. Now, suppose two people have been married from two different religions, then there's no problem in them living happily. So the constitution has no role to play in that. No role to play in that. A bench has rejected the state government's attempt to adopt an innocent reading of the provisions of the Gujarat Freedom of Religion Amendment Act 1921 by claiming that the interfaith marriage that did not involve fraud or coercion and leading to conversion would not attract the penal provisions. Then it said that if these two people have been married in an interfaith marriage, then they would not attract the penal provisions. Penal is punishable by law. The argument is obviously contrary to the wording of the amendment, which makes conversion by marriage or by getting a person married or by aiding a person to get married an offense. Now, this amendment says that a person who changes his or her religion by getting married or by aiding a person to get married or by marriage is an offense. The court said a plain reading of section 3 would indicate that any conversion on account of marriage is also prohibited. Now, if two people are marrying and one is Hindu and one is Christian, then the constitution said that their conversion is prohibited. They cannot convert. What sort of a law is this? Now, what is section 3 of our constitution say? Section 3 of the amended act deals with prohibition of forcible conversion. It deals with the prohibition of forcible conversion. People can convert their religion willingly, but not forcibly. It states that no person shall convert or attempt to convert, either directly or otherwise, any person from one religion to another by use of force or by allurement or by any other fraudulent means. It means that no person can allure any other person to change from one religion to another. If he or she does so, then he or she is punishable by law. It is regrettable that Hindutva votaries continue to believe in medieval minded laws aimed at curbing interfaith marriages. Regrettable means unwelcome, something that induces regret in us. It is regrettable that Hindutva votaries, what are votaries? I told you they are monk or nuns who have vowed to follow certain religion. That Hindutva votaries continue to believe in medieval minded laws aimed at curbing interfaith marriages. Now, these monks and nuns of Hindus, they are very much single minded, and they aim at curbing interfaith marriages. They do not allow interfaith marriages. They say that if an interfaith marriage is done, it is not of our interest. Despite clear Supreme Court rulings that it is no more constitutional to police private lives and beliefs, sections in the polity still believe that interreligious marriage are aimed at religious conversions, that they have an adverse impact on public order and invariably involve coercion or deceit. He says the state or sections in the polity, a few sections of our government do believe that these interfaith or interreligion marriages are invariably, I told you invariably is always, in every case, involve coercion or deceit. They mean to say that every interreligion marriage is based on one fraud and is coercive. Coercion, I told you, to persuade a person to do something by force or threat. To persuade by force or threat. It was always clear to the secular minded and legal experts that constitutional courts will not see such marriages as events that impinge on public order, and that making their solemnization a ground for prosecution under anti-conversion laws are likely to be upheld. Now, what does impinge mean? Impinge is to have an effect, especially a negative one. Negative effect. What is solemnization? Solemnization is celebration or recognition of a ceremony, mainly of marriage and all. It was always clear to secular minded and legal experts, people who are secular minded, that constitutional courts will not see such marriages as events that impinge on public disorder, and that making their solemnization a ground for prosecution under anti-conversion law was unlikely to be upheld. Now, people who were secular minded did believe that the constitution or the state should not consider these intersecular marriages to be impinging the society, or they should not be prosecuted under the anti-conversion laws. It is clear that the Gujarat's law provisions interfere with the intricacies of marriage and the individual's right to choice, thereby infringing Article 21. Now, what does the Article 2021 of our Constitution say? It says that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to a procedure established by law. So, simply, it says it secures two rights. It secures two rights, which are right to life and right to personal liberty. Now, Article 21 says this, and this provision that the Gujarat government has passed does interfere with the intricacies of marriage. The principle that the right to marry a person of one's choice is integral to Article 21 flows from the verdict in Shafin Jahan versus Akosan. Now, this was a case that had come to the court, in which it was said that Ashokan was deceived into marrying her husband, Mr. Shafin, and forcibly converted to Islam. Now, this lady was forced to marry her this man, Mr. Shafin, and was forcibly converted to Islam through her marriage. This led to this provision that is coming now. The order stalling criminal action against those entering into a valid interfaith marriage constitutes a significant judicial pushback against disconcerting attempts by various states to foment communal divides through dubious legislation. Dubious, as I told you, is doubtful. Foment is to stir up or instigate. Pushback is to delay an event. Disconcerting is causing someone to unsettle. Stall is to once again stop or cause to stop. The order stalling criminal action against those entering into a valid interfaith marriage constitutes a significant judicial pushback against disconcerting attempts by various states to foment communal divides through dubious legislation. It says that there are states who want a digital divide, religious divide in their state. Who knows what their interests might be, but they want a digital regional divide in their state. So the order stalling criminal action against those entering into, now people who are entering into valid interfaith marriages need a law to protect themselves from the insignificant charges that can be put to them. This constitutes a significant judicial pushback against disconcerting attempts by various states to foment communal divides through dubious legislation. This legislation that we have got is very much doubtful regarding the law it makes, and so people who undergo valid interfaith marriage might face problems, and this would lead to communal divides which many states want in themselves. So there needs to be one good thing that would stop them. Now here I end the article, and thank you for listening.